Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the SWW show's Formula One show, Formula S. It's me, AJ. I've got Mike with me, as always. Today, we are talking about Tuscany, the second Italian race at Mugello, and thank God there's only one of the Russian Grand Prix, because that track is boring. To kick it off first, news, kind of breaking news the week that we recorded this episode. Honda announced that they are leaving F1 after 2021, which shocked, I'd say, almost everyone.
Really?
That I saw, yeah, because, I mean, they won 2 races this year.
Mm-hmm.
Well, they've won multiple races with different manufacturers. You know, so they've won with Red Bull and also with AlphaTauri. Like, there's the engines aren't changing until I believe 2023 or 2024 anyway. So it's kind of weird for them to just peace out kind of in the middle of when engine regulations are going on. So it leaves Red Bull and AlphaTauri without an engine supplier. I don't see Mercedes giving Red Bull a motor, because why would you give your greatest competition, you know, the advantage they need? Because that's the one thing, like, the Red Bulls have just been down on power compared to the Mercedes. If a Red Bull had a Mercedes motor in it, it would probably be wiping the floor, because it's just got more overall grip. Ferrari, probably not. Red Bull and Renault had a very messy public divorce. So, I don't know. Like, Renault's the only one that you could see doing it, but it would be as a, look, they have to come back.
Mm-hmm.
But, yeah, I don't know. It could be also with the, Racing Point becoming Aston Martin.
Mm-hmm.
There could be a Aston Martin branded F1 engine, which Red Bull could then use. You know, it's kind of up in the air with who it'll be. And, I mean, luckily they have a year to figure it out. It's not like... This isn't the last time Honda left F1 where...
I was gonna say, I was reading, it said something they just returned recently. Like, it's not like they've been in and out.
Well, the last time they left in 08, I think it was... Yeah, it was 08. It was like December 08, and the season starts in March. Mm-hmm. They already had a car. Like, and luckily, the Honda leaving F1 led to us getting the ultimate underdog story with Braun GP, in which Ross Braun bought the team from Honda for $1, went and got a Mercedes motor, made the car fit the motor even though they weren't designed to work with each other, and then went out and won the driver and constructor title. Which coincidentally was the last title that wasn't a Ferrari or Red Bull or Mercedes. So, yeah. Formula One will have a new CEO starting next year. Former Ferrari team principal Stefano... Okay, you're going to have to help me out because you have Italian in you.
Okay.
How would you pronounce his last name?
Holy shit. Domenicali?
I was going to say Domenicali.
Domenicali is right?
That would probably be the anglicized version of it. Stefano Domenicali, he is currently FIA's head of single-seater racing, which means basically he's part of the governing body that oversees the rules, and he runs all of single seat operations. So, in a way, this is a demotion for him. Kind of dropping down to one of the series that he oversaw. But it's much more of a public role. This was the role that was Chase Carey, the guy with the magnificent mustache. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see for sure, because, you know, there's a lot of fans, Mercedes and Red Bull fans, that are like, oh, this is a Ferrari guy, he's going to help F1 bend the knee to Ferrari more than they already have. When in reality, like, Ferrari's got F1 by the balls anyway, so doesn't matter who's in charge. But speaking of people who are in charge, the group behind the Eiffel Grand Prix, which will be run at the Nürburgring, it's in fact the next race. It's the race after Russia. They announced that they will have 20,000 fans.
Jesus.
Which I'm trying to think, like, that might be the largest sporting event in the world. Because I'm thinking, like, okay, the Kansas City Chiefs had like 17,000 at their stadium. You know, and I'm not sure like how some of these colleges are handling fans, but at least for F1, this will be the like third or fourth race with fans. But, you know, it'll look like there's actually people in the stands. Which they're lucky. You know, the Nürburgring is a massive track. In terms of seating and just overall footprint, so they'll be able to socially distance everyone and handle it as well as they can. It also helps that it appears that Germany has been pretty good at stifling the spread of COVID-19, as has most of Europe.
I thought like UK is starting to have a wave in a few of the spots.
Yeah. Well, and I was going to say, this is an interesting release, especially now that several countries are announcing the second wave is starting. Like, the second wave starting. Hey, we're going to have 20,000 people in the stands at the Nürburgring. Like, okay, maybe, like, I get it. You want to do it, but also it's like, maybe not the right time. They did have, though, speaking of fans in the stands, I believe they had 15,000 at Indianapolis for the road course race. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see, because I think Russia had like 6,000 fans and I barely saw any of them.
Yeah, because those things are just because we think of that as a lot of people, but then like then you realize how many people actually could fit in a space, and you go, oh, that's like nothing.
Yeah, I mean, when I went to Montreal, they said the race day attendance was 125,000.
And you probably could look and be like, oh, I see 2,000 people.
Yeah, I mean, they probably had 6,000 seated just in the Lance Stroll hairpin seats alone. So, yeah. Will be interesting. At least, though, like, the Nürburgring has always been one of these tracks that's like, man, everybody wants to go back just because of the history at the location. Not necessarily the track that they race on for F1. But the Nürburgring is this, like, it's spoken in hushed tones. Like, everybody, like, man, the Nürburgring, like, we gotta go there. We gotta go there to run the Nordschleife, which is the, it's like 12 and a half miles or something like that. It's actually a public road. It's a toll road that you can drive as fast as you want on. It's the track
shocking.
It's the track that you hear of, like, oh, so-and-so manufacturer did a 7.5 minute run at the Nürburgring. Like, that's the track that they're talking about. The Grand Prix track that they race at is actually to the south of the Nordschleife. And I believe the Nürburgring 24, they might still do it, where they run the entire thing.
Mhm.
So they run not only the Grand Prix track, but also the entire Nordschleife. It's like a 15-mile lap or something like that.
Hmm.
And they run that for 24 hours. Yeah. But this gives them a much-needed financial boost, because from the sounds of it, the GP track was in dire straits. Much like, should a new team come in F1, much like teams like Haas and Williams would be in dire straits, because of the prize pool being split one more way. But good news for the small teams. Part of the Concord Agreement was that any new team coming into F1 would need to immediately pay a $200 million kind of entrance fee, which would be split evenly between the 10 constructors, so $20 million apiece. Which Mike and I were talking before we started recording. I think the $20 million would be roughly what like a Haas would be getting anyway. So they might actually be making more money if a team comes into F1. The thing that I wonder, though, should, like, say in 2022...
Okay, so a long time from now. If the
18
world
months.
still exists. Well, if the world still exists.
Yeah. A team enters, so then they pay the $200 million fee.
Mm-hmm.
If in 2023 a team enters, do they still just have to pay $200 million, or is it...
This is what I was going to ask you, too, because it's going to start... Because the whole point of that you said was to partially, like, minimize the, like, impact of the potential learnings. And now, when you do that, it makes it feel less and less.
Yeah. I mean, there might be something in the Concord Agreement. That agreement will never get out. Those things are so locked down that...
Mm-hmm.
Let me put it this way. More stuff from presidential briefings leaked this year than terms of the Concord Agreement.
Mm-hmm.
Like, these Concord Agreements are basically, like, above top secret clearance. Like, there's maybe 20 people in the world that know what's in the Concord Agreement. There is, like, a public one that you can read, but a lot of the stuff that, like, the juicy stuff isn't included in that.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, the money and stuff isn't necessarily discussed in the public one. But yeah. Quickly, before we get into talking about the races, because this occurred at Sochi on the Russian Grand Prix track, but it wasn't in F1, it was the feeder series F2. There was a massive crash. And 2 cars going through turn 3 collided and hit the Armco, or whatever they're calling it, barrier. Tech Pro, that's what it's called. Tech Pro barrier. It actually red flagged the race, so they had to stop the race, and they called it due to the damage, because F2 kind of fits in between, like, sessions of F1, so practice and qualifying and stuff like that. So they are time limited.
Mm-hmm.
More so than F1 is. But yeah, it was Jack Aitken and somebody else, and it's a pretty gnarly crash. It's on YouTube and stuff like that. But
we were looking at before, and that is a crash. I was like, oh.
Yeah, and the thing to remember, so they're going through turn 3, which is a replica of Istanbul Park's turn 8, which we're actually going to be going to Istanbul this year, so we get to see that the origin of all of these kind of copycat corners. But so you're basically maximum G load on the track. It's a super fast triple apex left-hander, and they just push wide, and I mean they just shoot off, which is pretty evident that somebody's steering broke. And gravity assisted those cars into the wall. I can't imagine what the G load was for that crash.
that had to be an absurd, just because like yeah, you saw he's like turning and then it just cuts and you're like, oh, that is not like even like I let go of the wheel. That's something. I'm
Yeah.
surprised the car didn't flip.
Well, so those barriers are designed to absorb energy.
Hmm.
They are the equivalent of NASCAR's safer barriers.
Hmm.
The barriers that you see now that jut out from the wall. They're energy absorbing material. But yeah, there have been some massive crashes into Tech Pro since it's been um, released. There's a famous one of Max Verstappen going off at the first turn in Monaco, and the car just nosedives underneath the Tech Pro.
Hmm.
Charles Leclerc's car did it in the tire barrier at Monza,
Hmm.
but yeah, it gets pretty dangerous. Something that isn't dangerous and will be fun to watch next year. Fernando Alonso is officially back at Renault. He had his seat fitting meeting while they were in Russia, so he's ready.
Hmm.
He's ready to return to F1, which will be fun to watch. It's the team that he won 2 world titles with, and also he pretty much set the bridge between him and the team, soaked it in nitroglycerin and lit a match and blew the bridge. But so it's interesting to see that team and him kind of working together again. But yeah. And now we are on to
We're
Tuscany,
on to the races. Dun, 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 dun. I'm sorry, I was trying to get a good song going there.
which I believe Tuscany was. I'm trying to think of what we've run so far. Tuscany was the first of the kind of new tracks.
Hmm.
It's a very old track, but the first time F1 had been there. It is a incredibly fast track. It's owned by Ferrari, as much of the smaller tracks in Italy are. Super fast track from everything that I was seeing beforehand, like short of restarts and the first lap, these cars wouldn't dip below 4th gear for the entire lap.
Hmm.
So that just shows you how fast these corners are, especially with the downforce that these current F1 cars are running. And it was also the 1000th Grand Prix for Ferrari.
The thousandth.
Yep. So they have run. So F1 celebrated their 1000th race last year at China. Ferrari celebrates their 1000th this year at Tuscany, which obviously it would have come much earlier in the season if it was a normal season. But yeah, so they ran a special one-off classic livery, which basically all they did was change the number font and made the car like a darker wine red instead of its scarlet. And then they added the 1000 on the shark fin. Other than that, it's the exact same car, which I was kind of disappointed in.
Really?
I figured Ferrari would go back to like one of its original liveries, like even if it was just the wine red. Like obviously they need to put the numbers on there, but if they had just done the wine red and then like put the number on the shark fin or something like that, that could have been pretty cool. Because I'm sure like Ray-Ban, UPS, Shell, all of their sponsors would have been fine. Like, okay, this is a special event for you. Hell, I mean, Ferrari could have just paid them whatever the
Fee is.
their like whatever it cost for one race. Like, just pay that out to your sponsors so you can run a clean car. But yeah, obviously every session was the first at that track for whatever it was. So we head into qualifying. About 21 seconds into the video, we see Roman Grosjean run 10th in Q1, which good for Haas. Like, showing some performance, getting it out there, and laying down a good time. 112, Vettel only goes 15th, so he's barely able to make it out of Q1.
Wow.
Which, damn. The Ferraris really suck ass. And for it to be at their 1000th Grand Prix, and you almost didn't even make it into Q2. Like, Jesus Christ. At 148, Vettel gets knocked out in Q2. Just no pace.
Mm-hmm.
It was, this is Ferrari's track. Like, they own it. They drive these cars at this track. And they still weren't able to figure shit out. At 345, Hamilton goes over. I like this. I put last year's Merc. It's the Racing Point. He goes over a second faster than that. And he wasn't even pushing. Like, it was his first run in Q3. And he goes a second faster.
A second faster?
Which just was ridiculous. Obviously, some of the guys, the Red Bull, I think, closed the gap. But, just for him to go out there and be like, oh, this is our warm-up for Q3, and I'm a second faster.
Mm-hmm.
Leclerc definitely overdrove the performance of the Ferrari. Got it to 5th in qualifying, which, good for him. I was at 5:39, basically the end of it. So, something for Ferrari to celebrate. I know there has been a lot of discussion about why Leclerc is so much faster than Vettel in the Ferrari. It seems to be from, at least kind of the prevailing theory, is that Vettel is a 4-time world champion. He's been driving an F1 for a decade. He knows how a car should react.
Mm-hmm.
And when this car doesn't do what it's supposed to, it slows him down. Whereas Leclerc's got like 3 years experience. So he's just like, oh, okay, I guess this is how I have to drive the car. Like, he's got no preconceived idea of what the car should be doing. We hop into the race here, 21 seconds. 2 do not go into 1. Sorry, Stroll and Sainz. They collide, force basically the back half of the field to avoid them. A couple cars go into the gravel trap. Carlos Sainz basically pirouettes into Vettel's front wing. Not much Vettel could have done there. Verstappen may as well have gotten a towel out because he ended his race at the beach in the gravel. So did Pierre Gasly. Although Romain Grosjean went into the gravel, but was able to keep the car moving and was able to drive out of it. At 105, this is screenshot this time code and then post this to pictures taken moments before disaster. Because that was the shit show of a restart on lap 6 that there were just all kinds of problems with it. And as a result, they had to red flag the race. 5 or 6 cars were eliminated in this crash. From Romain Grosjean's onboard, it looks like he goes through a frag grenade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's just shit flying all over the place. Also on his onboard, you see Antonio Giovinazzi's car basically, like, jump and dive into Latifi's side pod, which, again, I feel like every time we talk about a crash this year, we're like, hey, this is why the halo's a thing. Like, if And this is a great example. If the halo hadn't been a thing, Gio's head would have been one of the first things making contact with the side of Latifi's car.
Mm-hmm.
Just at the angle that he kind of dives in. From Gio's onboard, it almost seems like he goes before the green flag. Like he gets a bit of a jump.
But if they did, obviously you'd get like a penalty or whatever.
Yeah. And he just slams into the back of Magnussen. Yeah, they red flag the race. It was a whole ordeal. 2:43, the race gets restarted, and by about halfway through the lap, the two Mercedes have already built like a half second to multiple second gap to third. Like, this is how dominant these cars are. It's ridiculous. At 2:51, they show the timing board. 7 cars have been eliminated.
That's an absurd amount.
Yes. And it's only lap 16. Like, just ridiculous. 3:34, it is a onboard of Charles Leclerc and Daniel Ricciardo's Renault. Okay, it has DRS, but it looks like the Ferrari standing still.
Mm-hmm.
That Renault just flies by. 4:06, put a little quippy caption, all we are is dust in the wind. So take that clip of the dust cloud with that line in the song. Stroll crashes, and at 4:21 they show Stroll's onboard as he's going through the corner.
Mm-hmm.
And it almost looks like something in his car breaks and flies off. Because there's something off to the left that right as he hits the curb on the outside to take the racing line, and as he hits that curb, like, something flies off, and then the back of the car just, overtakes him, basically. And hits the wall pretty hard. It was a pretty tough camera angle. They show his face. They have one in the racing points have a camera pointed at the driver. And just that, you can see his eyes, and he is so just like, he's so gutted to have crashed. So, yeah. 4:38, we see the third standing start of the race because there were 2 red flags. 5:55, the end of the video, Hamilton gets 1 closer to Schumacher's record, which he will definitely break. So, sorry, racist assholes. Ferrari's all-time win record will be held by a black man. Or not Ferrari, F1's all-time win record will be held by a black man. So, guess what? Get with the times.
Get with the times.
Speaking of a place that needs to get with the times...
Oh, no.
We go to Russia with one of the most boring tracks on the F1 calendar. Probably the most interesting thing to happen here was Carlos Sainz's massive crash in 2014 or 15. It was one of the first years that the track was open. And I remember when this crash happened, like, his G sensor read over 150 Gs, which is death. Like, the human body basically shuts down at like 75 Gs or something like that. But yeah, it was a pretty gnarly crash. We also got the introduction of the Russian torpedo Daniel Kvyat after he decided to play ping pong with Vettel's car. So those are about the only things that have happened at Russia. And it's been on the calendar now for 6 or 7 years. We go into qualifying. 118, George Russell gets into Q2. He is he's another one kind of out driving the abilities of his car. He knocks Roman Grosjean out. 218, Vettel's coming through turn 4. this is another one of these, like, because he's such an experienced driver, maybe he crashed. Because he was expecting the car to do one thing and it did another. He clipped to the curb at turn 4 and it just lost it. And he crashed out. Hamilton was on a fast lap at that point. So at 2:26, we see him they had to red flag the session. He started his fast lap literally at the last second. Like, you can hear his engineer and the F1 commentators on the video counting down the time left for him to start. And he crosses the line after they say 1. 2:39, he sneaks through to Q3 with a pretty bad lap, all things being told. 2:59, Leclerc gets eliminated in Q2 on pure pace. Like, this isn't something wrong. He didn't crash or anything like that. The Ferraris are just slow. 6:11, Verstappen splits the Mercs. So, hey, something's going to happen this race. Which we get into the race, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 timestamps for the race. The video is 7 minutes long. Nothing happened in this race. So the way that F1 has always worked, if you in corners with a lot of runoff, they have signs for you to either go around or to direct you, like, okay, hey, you had to go into the runoff, but here's how you rejoin the circuit. At 55 seconds in the video, Carlos Sainz is following the signs. I hate that joke. And as he's trying to rejoin the circuit, he doesn't just clip the wall. Like, his whole front left tire, like, he basically lined up the wall with his tire and tried to drive through it. And it is a hard crash.
This feels like the set of races we're talking about here have had a shocking amount of crashes.
Yeah, it's definitely it's a track that it's boring, but it's got a lot of these weird turns that can catch drivers up.
Yeah.
Because they kind of just go into sleep mode. And it's like, oh shit, I forgot about this turn.
And then poof.
Yeah. At 102, Stroll comes on the radio. He got fucking hit going through 4. At 113 in the video, I believe it was lap 8 in the race, Hamilton gets word that he got 2 practice start violations, resulting in a 10-second penalty.
What's insane about that? It's during the race that happened, not before that got announced.
So, the violations were before the race. The penalty came through during the race.
But what I'm surprised is, why couldn't they have called that penalty before the race began? Like, being like, hey, you're going to have this. So
here's the thing, right? You're thinking logically. The FIA and Formula One do not think logically. Nor are they consistent. So, these practice start violations would normally also warrant a penalty point on your super license. Basically, if you get, I think it's 12 penalty points in a year, you are suspended for a race. And it's not a calendar year. It is like, if you get a penalty on August 5th, that point doesn't get rescinded until August 5th of next year. So it's a rolling, like, you could get 12 because you've got penalty points from last year's race. Which, if the penalty points had been applied and kept, Hamilton would have had, I believe it was 10 or 11 penalty points. And he would have had, I think, 8 or 9 penalty points still at the beginning of next year. So there was some talk of, okay, do they just incur a penalty, get him suspended? Because once you hit 12, they clear out.
Right.
No matter the time, they clear out. But they pulled the penalty points, but they still gave him the 10-second penalty. 257, there is a really, really good fight between Ricciardo and the Renault and Sergio Perez in one of his last races in the Racing Point, going through what I call Russia's Istanbul Triple. As I say, this is just a copycat of Turn 8 at Istanbul Park. Because the designer for F1, Herman Tilke, is extremely lazy. And puts that turn into every track that he designs. So at 3:17, Hamilton comes into the pits, serves his 10-second penalty, and is not super happy about it. But it is it's understandable when you watch the video of his infractions. Like, there's a designated spot in the pit lane for you to do practice starts. And he goes in front of that to get a clean track, which obviously a start on the track is going to be pretty clean versus a bunch of rubber that's already been laid down. And then he goes to the literal end of the pit lane on the track, the pit exit, and does one there. And it's like, dude, you can't do that. And he was being bitchy Hamilton with regards to the penalties, because he's one of these that if something happens, it's because I'm black, or it's because I'm this or that. Like, no, if Vettel had done it, he would have gotten the penalty points. If Verstappen had done it, he would have gotten, quit trying to play the victim. 426, Vettel and Romain Grosjean go wheel to wheel through 2. Grosjean makes contact and just full on takes out the signs that show you where to go. Doesn't even try. Like, it looks like he makes, an attempt to go around them. No. He's just like, goodbye.
Goodbye. Have a good day.
Yeah. At 5 minutes, Lando Norris showcases why he is going to be a great driver for years to come. He defends against 2 cars for quite a while. And he's in a McLaren. Like, okay, the other 2 cars were, the mid-pack as well. But he did pretty well. It'll be interesting to see his career in Formula 1. 6 minutes, 8 seconds, Bottas wins the race, and in a response to a Instagram troll, recites the line that he had at Australia in 2018 or 19, where he says, "To whom it may concern, fuck you." Which, when he won in Australia a couple of years ago, it was a weird line because nobody knew who it was directed to. But in this race, it was very clear who that was directed to. And Bottas pissed off is one of the funniest people in the world. So, yeah.
Nice. So, now that we're even further through the season, as I keep running back to, how are you feeling about this weird season of F1 races?
I'm happy.
Because I know the last time we talked about it, I felt like you felt a little
Yeah, I mean, it was also, we were coming off of some of the most tracks. And, yeah, the Tuscan Grand Prix, I mean, that was a fun track to watch. Russia is such a boring track that it's like, not much is going to happen. We're going to the Nürburgring for the first time in a couple of years, so that'll be fun to watch.
So then the other thing there is there anything that they've changed for this season that you think they should keep?
The tracks that they have, so Tuscany is a terrible track for F1. It's a fun track to watch, but it's too small. The Nürburgring should really be back. It'll be interesting to see Portugal and the return to Turkey. Those will be fun tracks to watch. And I believe the outer ring at Bahrain was just because they needed something different.
Why do you think it's something different? Just once in a while you do?
They're going to run back-to-back races, and these tracks that have multiple layouts, I think they should take advantage of that.
That's fair.
So, yeah. It will be interesting to see. We will be back with an F1 show soon.
What are the next couple races looking like?
Germany, Portugal, and Italy. It's 3 new races. 2 of the tracks are brand new. Well, Portugal's brand new. Imola, the last time when they raced there was in the early 2000s. And as I say, the Nürburgring, it's been a few years since they raced there. So, yeah. Nice. And then we get Turkey, the return to Turkey. So it's 4 straight races that weren't on the schedule this year.
And then how long do we have left till the season's done?
The final race, Abu Dhabi, is the 11th through the 13th of December.
Okay. And then
so it's like, I think it's like 2 weeks later than it normally would have been.
So actually it's surprisingly not delayed then.
In terms of when it ends.
Yeah. Like obviously the start was massively, but like when it ends.
Yeah, because I think normally it's like the end of November, and we're going 2 or 3 weeks after that, so it's not a huge difference.
Okay. Well, yeah. Hope you guys enjoyed your every once in a while F1 rundowns. Remember, you can follow our show at the SWW Show on Twitter. Is anchor.fm/SWW. Follow AJ at AJ_Losi, or follow me at Mikey_Baroni. We will catch you guys next time, next couple weeks. So for housekeeping is a couple interview shows, so keep an eye out for those. And then AJ and I will be back in November with an SWW show to talk about everything collapsing around us.
Yep.
This episode is partially brought to you by the Humble Choice program. Did you know Humble Bundle has a great monthly subscription service that lets you get a ton of video games every single month? That's right, from plans range from $5 to $20 a month, you get a hold of a bunch of free games they have available to you. And you can use our code down in the description below to go and sign up. It would help our podcast and help you see what great games are available for you this month.
This podcast was a production of The SWW Show. To learn more, go to theswwshow.com. Remember, you can follow the show on Twitter at The SWW Show. You can follow me at Mikey_Maroney. You can follow AJ at LowSeaBoy. Remember, new episodes premiere on Friday, 9 a.m. Central Time on anchor.fm/SWW and podcast services around the globe.